This lesson for GCSE Ancient History, the Foundations of Rome, is about the second legendary king of Rome, Numa, who's said to have reigned between 715 to 673 BC, but not really, he didn't exist. I know what Numa did as king. I understand why this is important, even though it's not true. Again, I can explain why we are learning fiction in a history lesson. Keywords are interregnum, a period between kings. Religion, pious. If you are very religious and go to church a lot and believe in temple, you are pious. Ageria, a goddess. This woman here. A priesthood, a group of priests. Trinity, three gods. Flamen, son of a priest. Pontiff, a chief priest. Vestal virgins, a priestess. Diplomacy, where countries talk to each other to arrange, to work out what to do next, how to have wars, how not to have wars. Diplomacy, making deals. Land reform, taking land off some people and giving it to others. Anachronistic, when the details of the history are definitely wrong, because something happened, you say something happened and it can't have happened then. That's called anachronistic. Right, quiz on Romulus. Read the questions. If you don't know the answer, look at the previous video so you do know the answers. Right, okay, Numa. Now if you remember from the previous lesson, Romulus dies. Romulus dies in 716. It's a year before Numa becomes king. In that 1 year, the Senate tried to rule without a king. It's called the interregnum. Now, how did Romulus die? Two stories. One story is the Senate killed him because he's becoming a tyrant. Story two, no. He dissolved, literally, and just went to became a god. Either way, they reckon Romulus died. The Senate tried to rule without him, realised they couldn't, and so this guy Numa, who's not even a Roman, he's a Sabine, was given the job because he was so religious and so pious, such a good person. Now, what did he do? Well, he was married to a goddess, Ageria, who he visited a lot in her cave and got advice. And he brought in lots of religious changes to Rome. He brought in a chief priest called a pontiff, in the key words. He brought in the worship of a trinity of gods, Mars, Romulus, and the spirit of Romulus, Quirinus, a trinity of gods who are all one god. He brought in the Flamen, priest to Jupiter, with flames on their head. That's why this funny helmet on. He introduced the Vestal virgins as the female priestesses to Rome. Lots and lots of religious changes, lots of new temples, all that business. But if he's not warlike, how did he stop Rome's neighbours from attacking them? And here's the thing they reckon happened. Numa was so pious, so religious, the gods were incredibly happy with the Romans. Because of that, no one dared attack Rome, because if they attacked Rome, the gods would be unhappy with them. So that was Numa's diplomacy. That's how he dealt with the threats from abroad, from their neighbours. By being so religious, no one dared attack them. Towards the end of his reign, the poor people, the plebeians, were protesting. They were planning a revolt, a revolution, because they were poor, because they didn't have land. This is all to do with farming. The solution that Numa came up with, the old king Romulus had lots of land. He took that land and he gave it in little parcels to poor people, called land reform. So this, instead of all this being one farm, it became little farms and given to poor people, and that kept them happy. If all this is rubbish, why did the Romans believe it? Well, the Romans, when they wrote all this down, they knew they had all these temples and different religions and different priests, and they needed some way to explain how it happened. So they made up a king who was very religious. And at the time all this was written down, the Romans were genuinely having massive problems with the plebeians. It's called the conflict of the orders. We were doing it in a few lessons' time, where the rich had all the land and the poor were complaining that they were poor and wanted some of their land. So it looks like this thing about Numa and giving away land is anachronistic. It did happen, it just didn't happen for another several hundred years.